Hi, welcome to my channel, The Pink Trellis. I'm Gina. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about struggling plants, and I'm going to show you one of my struggling plants, what I'm going to do to try and fix it, and then go ahead and try and fix it. So we all have plant struggles, whether it's from neglect or maybe the environment isn't perfect for it, like your house conditions aren't quite satisfactory for the plant, or maybe pests are hurting your plant, or maybe you just haven't quite figured out the needs of that particular plant. So the plant I'm struggling with is a peperomia pixie lime. And I've had this plant for almost a year, and when I picked it up off of Etsy, and it was 5 cuttings. So I rooted those cuttings in sphagnum moss, and they rooted really easily. It's a really hardy plant, actually. So it rooted really quickly. So I was able to pot it up during the summer, and it grew really well. It grew a lot, and it did well all through the summer. And then fall and winter came, and it started to struggle. So it wasn't for a lack of attention on my part. It was more a case of the environment not being quite right for the plant, and then also me not knowing exactly the care needs for the plant. So what happened is I was underwatering it, and I ended up losing parts of the plant, and then other parts were looking not so great. So I ended up letting it get too dry, and then it lost some stems in the back, so the plant was bare at the back. So this is the plant right here. I've been patiently waiting for spring to get here so I could chop it up and start over again with this plant. So this is the plant that I'm going to be working with. This is the peperomia pixie, and you can see how it got all bare in the back here where I lost some stems. I mean, it's a beautiful plant when it's in optimal condition, and I really want to get it back to that optimal condition. So the way I'm planning to do that is I'm going to chop some of these long stems and then root them in water. And then I'm going to reposition the stumps or what's left in there so that they're equally spaced throughout the pot, and hopefully that will work. This plant actually really reminds me of the annual flowering plant called impatiens, and I think it's like the stem structure on this is what makes me think of it so much, and plus also the thickness of the leaves and the texture of the leaves. And when I lived in Southern California, our impatiens, they never died off in the winter time because it just didn't get cold enough. So what I would do every spring is the plants would get real leggy, kind of like this. So I would just chop them at the stems near the soil, and then they would the leaves would just come back, and of course, and then you get the flowers. So this is reminding me of impatiens, so I thought, well, I'll try that. I'll try that with this plant, and we'll see what happens. So I'm not so worried about the stem cuttings I'll be taking and then rooting in water. I think they'll be just fine. I'm more concerned about what's left in the pot, that will survive. But the good thing is, if it doesn't, then I have the cuttings that I'll be able to work with. So we might as well get started on making this beautiful again. All right, so I think I've got everything here that I need to get this plant looking good again. So I have the plant, I have this jar for the cuttings, my scissors, some soil, and I think that's everything. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is take my cuttings. So we're looking for some real long, leggy stems to cut. And if you can see here, this is what I was waiting for spring. So I'm starting to get new growth coming out here. So I'll probably cut it like right there. So there are some leaves left for growing. We'll go ahead and take our first cutting. I'm trying to decide if I should, yeah, I'll just cut it right here. So that will go into our water. I'll remove a couple of these bottom leaves. And I'll take this one. All right, so I think I'm gonna leave the rest, and then I'm just gonna take all of this out and reposition these in the pot. I think maybe these could stay. This one, I'm not sure yet. I like to get some growing in the middle, so. But before I mess with that, I'll get my cuttings in the water. So we're gonna remove this leaf. Remove this leaf. You just don't want those leaves sitting in the water because they will rot if they're in the water. So you want to get just bare stem touching the water. All right, well, I didn't really like the way the stems were sitting in the other jar or vase, so I'm gonna try it in these instead. They were just kind of trying to flop out of the other one. So I think this might work better. I think that works much better. So cute. All right, so now I'm going to attempt removing what's in this pot and just repositioning everything in there. Try and loosen this up. There's not much chunkiness to this soil, so my new soil I'm going to be using is the same soil I use for my Hoyas, and it's a much chunkier, I think it'll be a better soil for this. Since peperomias also like the same kind of soil that Hoyas like, I think it'll be much better for them. And I had just watered this last night, so that's why the soil is so wet right now. So yeah, new soil for this plant for sure. Get this all cleaned up and then we'll pot these up. All right, so I got that pretty much cleaned up. Such a messy job. And we're gonna start filling this up again with some more chunky soil, something more suitable for this peperomia plant. That's a pretty good level, I would say, for this. Now we'll just position our pieces evenly so that there's no bare spots like before. I think that looks pretty even, looks good. I think that will do. I think now I'll just give it some water. And it's still, this was the part of the plant that still has its roots, so it should be fine, hopefully, even though I disturbed it. I think it will be okay. And then we have our cuttings here. So if we do lose this, we do have this. All right, so it feels better already knowing that I've taken steps to get this looking back to how beautiful it looked last summer. And I think at some point I'll probably take these stems even lower, but I wanted to leave as much of the leaves as I could to not stress the plant out that much, since I did pull it out and disturb the roots and give it all new soil. So we'll wait maybe a month and then maybe I'll trim these down even more. And then we also have these darling little jars of peperomia pixie limes. They look really cute in these green jars actually. And who knows, I may leave these in permanently. I don't know, we'll see, but very cute. So the moral of the story is, if you have a plant that's not looking so great, don't be afraid to pull it out, look at the roots, repot it, get it back to where you know it could be. And don't feel bad if you have a plant that's struggling, because we all have it. So we're all in the same boat as plant parents. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you did. See you next time. Bye.